Alright, so receive the email. I'm gonna read the email and answer the question. The subject is male police handcuffing women. Alright, so here's the message. It says, men are much stronger than women, but when I was arrested, two giants compared to me put me in cuffs. Do you think that men who are significantly larger than the woman they are arresting should be handcuffing the woman? Alright, so that's part of the question, and then I'll keep reading on. But what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to have a female officer on the scene to search you. The men are not supposed to be allowed to search the woman. So they're not supposed to handcuff you. Well, actually, they can handcuff you, but then they can't search you. They're not supposed to. The woman's supposed to search you. So if the men are searching you, you could pretty much file a complaint, if you feel that you were like sexually molested or something like that, and then you could bring a charge towards them. But as far as your question goes, do you think that men who are significantly larger than women they are arresting should be handcuffing the women? Well, if the woman, needs to be arrested, she needs to be arrested. She needs to have the cuffs put on her. They just, they probably shouldn't. They just shouldn't do it, with too much force, unless she's resisting. But yeah, if the woman needs to be arrested, she needs to be arrested. So no matter if the police officer is strong or big or small, or if it's a male or female, they're still gonna have to put the cuffs on the woman. Our next part of the question is the other two things that I think are unfair is how tight they cuffed me and how long they kept them on. They're supposed to double lock the cuffs so they don't keep getting tighter. If they don't double lock the cuffs, then essentially the cuffs could keep getting tighter and tighter, and then it could cut off circulation and it could hurt you. So you obviously tell them that you're feeling pain in your wrists and that you want it loosened up. But I'm going to keep reading and then I'll answer more. I asked them to loosen up the cuffs several times because they were digging into my wrists. I would understand if someone was resisting, but I turned around and put my hands behind my back when they told me, and I relaxed my hands. They kept me in the cuffs the whole time at the station. When I was being interviewed, I asked them to take my handcuffs off, and they wouldn't. I'm asking you this because, alright. So, basically, they're supposed to cuff you, and then when they take you to the station, they're supposed to sit you down, and then they're supposed to cuff you to the seat, in one cuff. But some stations may not have that cuff on the seat, so then they might have just kept you in the cuffs. They're doing that for safety purposes. That's not against the law, but what you could have done is just basically tell them that you're feeling a lot of pain on your wrists, on your shoulders, or on your elbow. And then if you really wanted to make it really hard for them, you could have told them that you wanted to go to the hospital because you feel so much pain, or that you're feeling sick, or you feel dizzy, or if you're on medication, then you tell them that you need your medicine. Then it's gonna make it harder on them. Then they're gonna have to take you to the hospital, and they're gonna have to it's gonna be a pain in the ass for them, and if you get hurt, say you're saying you're having breathing problems and they don't take you to the hospital and then you actually die, there's going to be some big problems for them. So what ends up happening is they have to pretty much, if you feel that you need to go to the hospital, they pretty much have to take you there. So that would give them a really hard time. And basically, when they don't loosen up the cuffs, you could say that your wrist hurts so much, and then you could say that you need to go to the hospital because your wrist hurts so much, and then you could pretty much file a complaint, or go to the doctor and have them evaluate your wrists or your elbow or your shoulder, and then in a way you could kind of try to say that the police are the ones who are responsible for causing these injuries to you, and then you could try to file a complaint on that. So for example, the police punched you in the face and you got a bloody nose, then you want to take a picture of that. You want to go to the hospital and then have the doctor evaluate you. Then you use the picture and the doctor, his evaluation as evidence to prove that the police abused you. Now when it comes to like joint pains, they twisted your wrist, or they like hurt your thumb or your finger, or they hurt your elbow or your shoulder, then you request to go to the hospital. And this is not something visual that you could see, but then you use the doctor's evaluation as a way to fight the police and say that they physically mistreated you. If these men are searching you, then you could file a complaint and then say that these police officers, these male police officers, were sexually molesting you or whatever while you were being searched. So you could bring upon a lot of complaints to them, and make it very difficult for them. You may be able to, pretty much, probably hire a lawyer to basically file these types of complaints and pretty much get them in trouble. You might get some money settlement out of it or something, but this would make it really hard for them, because when you're injured, they're supposed to take you to the hospital, and then you will use that against them. And then when you're being interviewed, don't answer any questions. Just tell them that you want to talk to your lawyer. That's it. It's nothing to answer. No matter what question they ask you, just stay silent. Even if they try to ask you what your name is, just tell them that you're not saying anything until you talk to your lawyer. Like they should have you fill out a form saying if you're on any medications and stuff like that. If you are, then you could mention that, and then you can make a big deal out of that. Like, you know what, I need, say you got diabetes or whatever, you need your insulin or whatever the case may be. They have to make sure that you get your medication or your treatment from the hospital, otherwise they could really get in some big trouble. So you could use that against them. You repeatedly tell them to not, that your wrists are hurting and they don't loosen up the cuffs. Then tell them, request that you want to go to the hospital because your wrist hurts so much. And then if they don't let you go, then after you get out of jail, you could go yourself and then have the doctor evaluate your wrists. And then if there's something really wrong with your wrists, then you can file a complaint, have a lawyer, basically fight the police department and say that, you got mistreated and, your wrist got injured, and you could try to get them on all that. So that's the only thing that I could say that you could really, think to do to fight back. Just think about it. When they arrest you, and say your shoulder's dislocated and they move it, they hurt you while they're trying to arrest you, they're not allowed to do that. They gotta make sure that you're comfortable and that they don't cause pain onto you. So they can't just punch you in the face and like make you bleed. That's wrong. So you can clearly use that as evidence to go against them. Even Tupac Shakur got beat up by the police, and then he ended up suing them and got a few, I think maybe $15,000 or $20,000 settlement, whatever. But when they hurt you, like through like twisting your arm or breaking your elbow or breaking your arm or twisting your shoulder or hurting your wrist, then you gotta just use that to fight them. You just go to the doctor, get it evaluated, and then use that to fight them and see what happens. That's the way to fight back with them. is you gotta fight back with them smart. You know. But yeah. One of the most important things to remember always when you get arrested, when they put the cuffs on you, just don't say nothing. Just tell them, just want to talk to my lawyer. That's it. Just ask no questions. Ask you anything about what happened, all that, so say nothing. So that's all. That's my advice.